Hello, it's Mary from Education Worldwide, and you're watching Let's Talk About It, our monthly podcast, but it's not really monthly because the entire March we didn't manage to do any podcast due to some unpredictable circumstances, but here we are at the beginning of April. We are here with you with some new and interesting topics, so thank you for watching us. And today we're talking about some interesting things about online schooling. Actually, we're always talking about interesting things about online schooling, but I think that this episode will be especially interesting for parents and some students, because we are going to talk about grading and making a progress in an online school. And besides Anita, who is my co-host, we have here our tutor Irina. Irina, welcome.
Thank you, Mary, so much for having me today. I'm actually really excited to be here, and well, I hope that everything that we say today is going to be quite interesting and also very useful.
Well, I'm pretty sure about it. Hello, Anita.
Hi, Mary.
Welcome to your own podcast. I see that both of you are in a good mood, which is really, really great.
I think it's the colors today.
Yeah, do you think?
I think, we are definitely very vibrant.
Yeah.
Spring moments.
Yes.
Spring is coming. So actually,
Spring is here.
Spring is here. If we look at the calendar. Okay, but before we dive into this interesting topic, I would like to thank you all who are watching. Don't feel shy. So join in the comment section. Feel free to ask questions, not just regarding this topic, but anything you want to know about online schooling in general, or conditions of how things work in education worldwide, or anything that you really want to know about online education, and we will reply and answer your questions directly. And if you're a parent or a student watching us, you can share your impressions, your experience with us. We would love to hear. If you have any notes on how we can improve some aspects of our service, you're welcome to share that with us. But before I start with the general questions, like regarding grading and making progress in an online school, I would like to ask Irina the question that I usually ask to all people who come here, like imagine or something similar.
Okay.
If you're a student, why would you like online school?
Definitely because of its flexibility. This is something that I wish that, like back in the day when I was a student myself, like that flexibility that online schools offer you, it's absolutely amazing. Not only because, clearly if we are talking about flexibility, we are talking about liberty, but also because I think that it's very important. It teaches the students self-discipline and responsibility, because if you have flexibility on one hand, that immediately means that you also have a sense of responsibility and self-discipline, which are very useful skills and virtues even to have in this modern time, and especially I think in future. So this is something that I personally find fascinating when it comes to online schooling, and I would definitely like to be like a child growing up today and having the opportunity to actually attend such a school.
Great. And as an online tutor, and I know that you have experience teaching in traditional schools as well, what are some of your biggest benefits, or the things that you like the most being an online tutor? Like what assets you get when you're teaching online?
Well, I actually really love the fact, this is probably going to sound cheesy, but bear with me, okay? I actually really adore the fact we are an international school. So our students come from every single country around the globe. And this is something that is so fascinating. To me personally, I have never had this experience before, and meeting, all the different students, hearing their own personal stories, sharing their own experiences, being a part of their memories, and honestly, there is nothing like that. There is literally nothing like that.
Great. I love really how every tutor who comes has really unique impressions about being an online tutor. It's not like some common role and you get to experience some, every day, or, it's fun, it's interesting, it's this or that, but every single one of you has some interesting story. Maybe we can mix them together and like make a compilation of your answers that we can offer on the job when we get new applicants for the job positions. You know, so what this job brings you actually.
Yes,
so.
like like the extra benefits. Exactly. Why not? Actually, why not?
Yeah, Anita, I don't remember if I have ever asked you. I probably did back in the days when you were a guest.
When I was a guest, the one time I was a guest.
Yes, but you also at one point you also were working as an online tutor. So looking at it right now, like what do you think that are the benefits of being an online tutor or attending an online school instead
Just
of
in general, I think like what Irina said, you have students from all over the world, and then when they get together in that class and they're like, wow, you're from this country, wow, you're from this country, well, it's hot over here, well, it's night over here, or whatever it is, it kind of brings them all together. So it's nice to see, like, at such a young age, they're like, wow, like it's international.
Yeah.
I'm talking to someone literally that's like 10,000 kilometers away, or miles, whichever
yes, exactly.
metric or other system you want to use. But it's really fascinating that, like, you just see them all coming together and they just like blend well together. There's no like borders in classrooms like that.
It works beautifully. Like you would think, oh, like, are there going to be any boundaries, limits, like what is the atmosphere going to be in the classes? But no, it's fantastic, honestly.
I think that kids are somehow like natural in overcoming those obstacles that maybe when we were grown-ups we would have that sense like, oh, you're from different culture, from different country, and we would have like some I don't know how to call them,
have like I would
expectations
say like
from somebody, and kids don't do that. Like they just see another kid, another
in the
peer.
Same position that they're in, and it's like this is like a classroom without borders, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Classroom without borders. I like how that sounds.
Yeah, actually beautiful.
Actually, I did that in. It was one of my courses at university.
Oh,
it's
really?
called Classroom Without Borders.
Oh, great!
So yeah, it's like
you have a professional background in the
go.
topic. Okay, great.
Well, I went to international schools, so.
Oh, great! Oh, so you have experience with an international school. That's great. I didn't know that. That's really great.
There you go, something new.
I can find out something
you
about
learn something new every day.
Yes, exactly. And Irina, I really like that you mentioned discipline, because I think that discipline and being self-organized is one of the key factors that is going to affect your online schooling if you're a student, and I think that's something that each student must acquire if they don't have it.
Absolutely.
In order to make progress. So let's start with the topic. Well, first of all, I would like to start with our grading system, because the most common questions that we get as consultants from parents, they're like, but how do you grade students, like if everything is online? Can you please explain how that process works?
So basically, even the things, we call them the gradable activities, the gradable things. Everything that you need, you already have on the platform. So once the student actually get their profile, once they log into, they will see their courses. So let me actually first explain like briefly what it is that they will see. So once they open their courses, they can open up the modules and see and already know what it is there to be expected. So they have like lessons, they have assignments, quizzes. So at the get-go, they will already know what to expect, which I think is a brilliant thing, because it offers them a sense of security. There are no like those surprises that can kind of temper with your self-confidence, like you already know, so this is what's coming next, and that can kind of really, I think at least, help out. So things that they will most commonly see, I would mention the assignments, which kind of act like like your typical homework, if you will. So the assignments, you have journals, you have discussions, quizzes, and exams. There's like more, but these are like the main five. We call them the big five.
So the big five.
The big five. So each one of them, like what's beautiful with this is that once you reach, like a journal, once you reach the assignment, the quiz and everything, on the page itself, Everything is so beautifully explained, and especially this goes for the assignments beautifully, because we have a thing that's called rubric. It's showed, like I said, on the page, and it literally explains if you want to show extraordinary work, this is the list of the things that you are supposed to do.
So they already know what they need to achieve in order to get certain
exactly
grade, right?
Exactly. So similar thing is happening, you know, like for journals and discussions, like everything is so well put together and so well explained that the students, you know, there is no room for mistake. And that's what's beautiful about the platform and about, you know, like the self-paced work. You really do not need, you know, like a teacher or anybody on the side really to kind of tell you, oh, well, this and this and this is expected of you. Everything is explained so beautifully. So for each gradable activity, there is literally no room for mistake. But of course, even during the classes, this is something that we advise our students always, like always speak up. If there is anything that you're unsure about, or if you have a question, there are no stupid questions. So please just ask. We are here to help and we are here to guide. So this is like briefly what to expect when it comes to the so-called gradable activities. We do have, you know, like a typical grading system. It's kind of already built, you know, like on the platform algorithm itself, especially with quizzes and exams. You would typically find the multiple choice questions.
Yeah, which are automatically graded.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes they will be, of course, the so-called open-end questions. And what I personally love about those questions is they are more like, okay, show us what you think about this. Tell us your thinking process. Like, this is something that we would like to kind of see and know. So there is really not how should I say, like right or wrong with this. Just feel free to express your own opinions, your own thoughts, your own connections that you kind of made, your own impressions. So this is like the thing with the open-end questions, which is unbelievable, because of course we want them to, besides learning, you know, like the course material and everything, the facts, if you will, we also want them to develop the ability to critically think about the things that are happening, to like have this critical filter and start, you know, like thinking about, let's think about history, let's think about geography, let's think why certain things happened, and so on. So this is definitely something that is happening in an online school such as ours. Journals and discussions, like they are honestly fun, you know, they're kind of fun to do. You get to, like I said, mostly express your own opinions, and the discussions are kind of like, I actually really like to look through the discussions and to grade them, because
there are no wrong answers.
Yes,
it's like you have your opinion, and if you can back it up with like
exactly,
that
like with our,
yeah.
Definitely. And it kind of looks like a forum page, because every single student that is actually enrolled in that course, like they will leave a comment.
They can see each other's comments, and
yes,
oh, that's really, really great.
Yes, absolutely. So they can kind of, you know, like through the discussion forum, I mean, that's clearly why it's called a discussion. They can broaden their knowledge. They can find out more. They can challenge themselves a little bit, you know, like, oh, this is what you think, hi, you know, like that's an interesting perspective. Well, this is what I personally believe, and they have the ability to really have a discussion, you know, in the forum sense.
In the sense of forums like it used to be before. I didn't know that about a platform. I don't know a lot of things about
yes, it's fascinating. Honestly,
so
it's
really,
so
really great.
It's kind of so rich with the type of activities that they can do. Of course, with the gradable activities as well, but you know, like the learning system.
And both of you mentioned parts of the platform and gradable activities that are automatically graded. Do we have something, and I do know that we have, but I'm asking, do we have something that is graded by teachers, and when do teachers jump in to grade assignment or?
Yes, so like I said, there are certain open-end questions, and I mentioned assignments, and I said that the assignments kind of look like your typical homework. So you would have everything literally is on the platform. All that you need is, you know, like your profile, and that's it. A good PDF editor program, or I mean, to this day, yes, a printer, I would advise writing down using your hand, because there is actually, scientifically speaking, there is proof that when we actually write things by hand, we remember better. So I know that it's like maybe not the most popular opinion, but I will still.
Old school.
Yes, it's the old school, and it works. I mean, so I would advise our students and our future students to actually really do take notes. Or print out the assignments and do them by hand. So, like I said, there is no room for, like maybe like back in the day, you will probably know exactly what I mean. Like you had, like the type of a professor who was too strict, and there was nothing that you can do and say to have a good grade or to do your work beautifully. Or you had, like a type of a teacher, like it doesn't matter. Like if you write down a sentence, that's it, good enough. Here we actually have that rubric system that literally prevents us from doing that. The students have the explanation, like I said, if you want an A, you have to do this, 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 and this. If you want a B, like a good enough work, these are the criteria, and so on and so forth. And we as graders also have the insight into that. And this is something that really does not allow us to grade under the impression of, I do not know, like a specific, the emotions that we maybe have that day, or towards a specific person, or based on our mood, and so on and so forth.
So it's not subjective, it's really objective.
Absolutely not, absolutely not. So like I said, like the students can feel completely free and safe knowing that as long as they really do take the time to look at the rubric, to actually really honestly, like read the question, being focused and concentrated, they can do an amazing work.
Great, that's really fascinating. And thank you for explaining how everything works. Really, like I'm looking at the platform itself and imagining, where is everything and how everything works. I think it's really the way it is structured. It really does help students learn even individually on their own, and they should really use online classes to improve their current progress, or to make something even better, to become a better student.
Yes, the classes literally enhance the experience, in my opinion. Everything on the platform, honestly, it's good enough in itself. And if they wish to do so, they can just, follow the schedule. We can talk about the schedule. I think that this is an interesting little fact that maybe not everybody knows. But yes, they can definitely follow the set schedule on the platform, and honestly, they're good to go. But the classes, the group classes, the individual classes, they honestly enhance the whole experience, because we add, like that social moment. We add the moment when we kind of challenge ourselves. When we, as teachers, we really do tend to build our students' confidence. Like go ahead, ask. Let's even explore outside of the borders of the platform. Like why not? Let's have fun with this. Because school, absolutely, learning, but also have fun.
Great, beautifully said, Irina.
Thank you.
I wish we brought you earlier in the podcast. You're great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're so kind.
And I just want to invite everyone again. If you're watching us, if you don't have questions, you can just tell us from which country are you watching. Say hi. We will reply back. And feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like this episode, share it with somebody who might find this topic useful. Maybe if they're planning to enroll their child into an online school, maybe this topic will be interesting, so they can find out how we grade things, and that this is not just some random, let's call it a platform that's you don't really know who is teaching your children and what they learn and how they're graded. It's everything is legitimate. As you see, everything is structured very well and has its sense, and how everything works. And as you mentioned previously, yes, I think that many parents are confused because during the enrollment process, we usually tell them, oh, this is a self-paced program and you can enroll any time of the year, and we explain this 10 months period, But what happens when they enroll on the platform and they see still some due dates? Are those due dates mandatory? Do students have to follow them strictly? Can we influence those due dates? What is your advice?
So basically, when it comes to due dates, this is not something that's set in stone, that's completely fixed. Through, like open conversation, we can, like add more time and so on and so forth. Like, honestly, flexibility at its best, at its finest. However, there is, like when we are talking about the self-paced rhythm, if you remember, I said, flexibility means responsibility as well. That does mean like, okay, yes, of course, you have the liberty to make your own schedule, to see, like based on the extracurricular activities, if you have them, or some other obligations and responsibilities in life, and you can kind of, like make the school work for you, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you still have to show up and you still have to do some work. Now, what's actually very helpful when it comes to the platform itself, it has the built-in algorithm, the app literally called a calendar, like your typical calendar.
Yeah.
It looks, like a,
like a
typical,
calendar.
a calendar that, like when you click on your computer to see the calendar, literally looks like that. However, this one has, like tiny little dots beneath every single date. And when you click on each date,
it gives you a
yes, it literally gives you like a list of the things that the platform using the algorithm kind of, like the platform made the schedule. Yeah, the platform makes a schedule.
Well, this is something that we've like discussed in consultations as well, when I give them like a demo of what to expect, and you've got like a day, week and month view, and it's great because you log in, you go on your calendar and you click like a day view and you say, okay, I have this, this and this to do. And
if you want, you can follow that. If you don't, you don't have to, but you have to catch up with what you have missed.
You just have to be aware. I think that the awareness here is very important. Just be aware, like you don't have to follow the calendar. You don't have to follow it strictly. Nothing bad is going to happen if you don't. But it's a useful tool to kind of remind you, okay, but every day you are supposed to do a little bit of work, if you want to, of course, finish the program in the set 10 months that you actually mentioned. So I do advise my students when we first start, and when I show them around the platform, I always show them the calendar, and I do advise them to follow it, because honestly, I think in a way it is a beautiful thing, because you don't have to think about it, like, okay, am I falling behind? Am I doing enough? And so on and so forth. So it is a very useful thing for students, especially the ones that feel like they want to be more independent, and they may be, for whatever reason, they do not use the classes, be it group or individual, to the max. So definitely I do advise them to follow the calendar, but like I said, nothing bad is going to happen if they don't. They simply need to be aware of the fact that they still need to do the work with all the flexibility and everything, like you have your computer, the internet and everything. Phenomenal, honestly phenomenal, but that does not mean that this is, like, I don't know, like just fun and jokes. It is school. It is a school after all, and you have to do the work.
Yes, and what happens after, for example, 10 months? I mean, we have 2 semesters, each last 5 months, and in case a student needs extension because they didn't manage to finalize everything, we prolong the semester A. And what happens if they don't finish everything in 10 months? What is the procedure from the teacher's point of view?
From the teacher's point of view, we always talk to our students to kind of see, okay, like what's happening, what's going on, is there any kind of a problem, can we help you out? We can then look at the program, maybe, like kind of see, is there something that we can maybe skip, or can we work extra, like, well, during the class. I mean, these are the things that, of course, like it's very helpful. And, like besides that, of course, we can add more time. This is something that we typically do in agreement with the consultants as well. So it's not just a decision that we kind of make by ourselves, but it's very important for us to see, okay, if a student is falling behind, why are they falling behind? What can we do to actually help them out? Typically, the consultations that we have with them, I always encourage every single student. So whoever is listening to this, please always feel free to be completely honest and completely open. Bear in mind that we are here for you. You know, yes. We want to listen to you. We want to hear, you know, like whatever it is, if there is a problem, be it, you know, like a personal or something that's, you know, school oriented, platform oriented, like we are here to hear you out and to together to make up a plan. Like I call it like a learning strategy in a way, because of course, like every single teacher, every single tutor, I did have, you know, like students who were struggling a little bit. So this is what we do. Okay, let's see, what is the problem? Once we actually see what the problem is, we are going to make a unique strategy for that student in particular, and we're going to implement it. We then continue to follow everything, you know, to see if it's working, you know. If it's working, amazing. If it's not working, okay, we need to think of something new. So in the support, it never stops.
So it's like a personalized study plan, basically.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
The way I see it, you know, the calendar that platform gives and the tempo that platform imposes on students is kind of to set the usual pace, but the students can deviate from that pace. They can go faster or slower, and teacher is there to monitor their work in progress. And as you mentioned, so yes. Yeah, with the constant help, it almost sounds like perfect, like nothing bad can go wrong, yet we still get students who are falling behind, and there are many reasons for that. In many cases it's their personal problems or something that they have. If they have a problem with the subject, we usually manage to solve that by, you know, connecting them with a teacher who does with them. Like if it's not possible to solve it in group classes, it happens in individual classes, and we manage to do that. But one thing that we are managing to do somehow, but it's really hard, it's when a student is simply lazy.
Well, yes.
What do we do in this kind of situations? Did you have any students? Of course, you don't have to mention them, but just share experience. Like, and we are aware. I mean, it's 800 students, more than 800 students that we have, and obviously a certain percentage of them will be simply lazy people, lazy students who think that this is a private online school and I don't have to do anything. After 10 months is done, I'll get my certificate. Which is not the case.
Yeah, absolutely not. So we do reach out to parents, you know, for additional support. After all, parents know their kids the best. So personally, what I do is I always write to the parents, and I just openly ask them for an advice. You know, what do you think? What piece of an advice can you give me to, you know, like motivate the student, tell me a little bit about their personality, tell me a little bit about their interests, and then I honestly think about, okay, so now that I have this information, what can I do with it? How can I make this whole learning experience kind of in tuned with, you know, like the interest and everything, so that I can actually motivate my students. So we do really you know, like reach out to the parents, because they are there, of course, and they can definitely help us. So this is one thing that we definitely do. What I also do, like this is a strategy, and it's worked amazingly so far for me. No, but really, like whenever I have the chance, be it, you know, like the short consultation that's like 15 minutes long, or you know, like a one-on-one class, or the individual class, even in the group class, I just want to show them, you know, like I kind of set the stage a little bit, and I show them that they are doing an amazing work. You know, they answered, for example, something correctly, or they did, you know, like a good work or anything. And now I'm like, oh my God, amazing. You know, like, bravo, this is fantastic, honestly, like, and I mean, it seems simple enough, you know, like, yeah, okay. But honestly, that works because they see, you know, when we say, okay, you know, like students that are lazy, they're just not motivated enough.
Yeah.
And the reasons can be, like you said, Mary, honestly, I do believe that mostly it is because of some personal reasons. And I do think that they maybe like start to lose self-confidence. Like, can you imagine, especially like middle school and high school, you are like going through so many different things.
And all those changes.
Exactly, like everything is just, you know, like it's chaotic, what even is going on. And then, you know, like on top of that, you know,
you have to learn.
Yeah, you have to learn, like, come on.
It's too
So
much.
just show them that they can, you know, show them that it is possible. I had a student, she was really falling behind, like honestly really falling behind. And it was a bit of a struggle to even like actually meet her in our one-on-ones, and you know, but eventually we did it. And this is the strategy that I did use, you know, I just literally showed her. And then every single class that we had after that, the moment that she would see, you know, how her scores are actually rising, you can see the happiness. You can literally see the happiness in her eyes. So I think that these are like a good strategies to use in these cases. Let's try to find out why are they being lazy. You know, let's try to see, okay, what is the thing? What can we do? And then we do our best to implement, you know, different strategies.
I think it really does come down to motivation, and once they have that little, not praise, but like, wow, I'm on the right track. It gives them that little push to just keep going, like little baby steps.
Yes.
And due to the fact that they can see their progress on the platform all the time, and it's kind of easier now that you're talking about all this and how their eyes light up when they see the progress they made. They can actually see the progress that they made compared to traditional schools where you don't see your grades. You know, for example, you don't have your grades all the time in front of you, you know, and you don't know if a teacher has made that grade based on some personal, you know, something that they saw in class or something that you told, the way you behave, doesn't matter. Do you think that that's also one of the benefits of online schooling, like, and can influence and, you know, just in general be motivating for students?
I definitely agree. They do have the ability to see not their overall progress for each of the courses. They literally have a fancy little tab called grades, and when they click on it, it's literally going to show them, you know, like list of all the gradable activities and the scores that they got. And in my opinion, way more important than the actual scores, you know, like 80%, 90, 40, doesn't matter.
Like the overall.
Yes, the overall.
But the individual.
They can also see the feedback. So this is a very important thing that we do. So when we are grading, like I said, we have, you know, like the criteria. It cannot be subjective in any way, shape, or form. But we also leave feedbacks. We tell the student, you know, like if there is a certain, you know, like area that they need to elaborate more, to offer more details, or even, you know, like if they did a good thing, you know, and it's a perfect score, it's 100. Let's also write something that we kind of, you know, like read and it was really sticking out to us, and it was, you know, like an example of extraordinary work. We would also write that down. And this is the type of feedback that really guides. It actually guides the students. So when they read it, they know, aha, so I need to work on this a little bit more. You know,
I
like
did
the
this
way.
great, so I can use this method next time as well.
Absolutely.
Really
and
great.
another thing that I also like to mention, and especially when I'm meeting my, you know, like new students for the first time, we already mentioned it. Nothing is really set in stone. So even if the score is a bit lower, they will have the ability to do it again. And this is where the feedback fits perfectly, because the feedback tells you, okay, you need to, like I said, elaborate on this, add a detail here,
focus more on this thing,
yes, exactly. You know, like it can be honestly a
anything,
whole lot of
really.
things, but this is literally for them, aha, so this is what I need to do. They have the ability to redo it, submit it again, and fix their scores. This is something that is not typically, like it doesn't happen in other types of schools. At least it wasn't when I was a teacher back then, or a student. So yes, this is something that I really like to mention to them. You know, relax, do the work, of course. It's a school, but there is no need to feel, you know, like stressed out, because that can also be a reason why they lose the motivation. You know, like if they're like so stressed out at the very beginning, they can start being defensive, and, you know, like it's easier to just, you know, quit.
Let it go.
Exactly. But when they know that we are together working on their improvement, we are working on their progress, the idea is to learn. Not for somebody to evaluate you now and forever, but to learn. And this is, I think, something that can actually help them really, you know, like, okay, I'm gonna work on this, I'll get better.
That's great, and that's actually one of the reasons why we say it's important, and this means for both students and parents, because parents don't get this as well. Be in contact with your assigned tutor or with your tutors in any subjects, because in higher grades they have tutor for every different subject. It's really important that they are, even if the student is doing everything on their own, I believe, it's really important that every now and then they have a short consultation with their assigned tutor just to see where they are and where they're heading.
Exactly.
To be sure that everything is in its place. And needless to say that, and honestly, from my experience, I mean, I'm not that much anymore into enrolling students. I'm dedicated to some other work within the school, but every time a student had a problem with being late, and these are mostly high school students, yes, the lack of motivation that they lost somewhere along the way, and the reason was some personal event or personal experience that they had, but they completely forgot to get in touch with the tutor. And when I asked them why, they were like ashamed or feeling afraid that they're going to yell or something, but nobody ever yelled.
Nobody, literally
that never happened.
Never.
So feel free, because we had students who were going to one grade for a year and a half, that how much they needed, and there was no eye rolling or like, what are you doing, or something like that, having an attitude towards that student. The entire team was dedicated to help them and to make them go through that grade. And as a matter of fact, the student was an intelligent student, but just some life circumstances have brought to that.
Typically are very smart and intelligent, really. Yeah. It is, like the reasons are indeed mostly personal, and just like you said, definitely, like feeling ashamed or, like guilty and so on. But like I said, this is why we exist. We are here to help you, reach out every time.
But also, a lot of the students, and we've actually spoken about this from an administrative point of view, they were either in a package one, where they didn't have individual classes, and they didn't have that face-to-face option. I mean, they had like the option of a consultation, like a quick one or whatnot, but it makes such a difference to have like that 30 minutes or 45 minutes where they can sit down, go through, fix up some scores, and get that little extra push just to kind of get them back on track and motivated. And that's why we brought in that
individual classes, even into package one that didn't used to have this,
which I think is an excellent idea.
Whether it's one time a week that they meet with like their first point of contact, it makes such a difference. And
I really think it's brilliant, because even if a student, because we have students from all around the world, and many of them do not speak English very well, or they're not comfortable with their English, they're not self-confident when it comes to their English, which can be an obstacle in the beginning. Once they get into the program, they realize, oh, I can do this, it's not that hard, They can use these individual classes, like take them mandatory from their own perspective, and focus on improving your English language skills in 1 month, I mean, in 1 month, given the fact that you already speak English. If you are a child who is 5 or 6 years old and do not speak English at all, we have different system. But you can get that information during the consultation. So yeah, I think the whole system works really perfectly, and the only thing is just be connected with your assigned tutor, with your consultant, and everything can be solved. So.
Yes.
But Irina, you mentioned several times, like, we were talking about grading. Logically, you mentioned several times the progress that they made. Can you explain, like, how much progress do they need to achieve to get a passing grade? I think we have a bit of strict program there.
Well, yes, it is a little bit about the percentage. So 70% is going to be the lowest for a passing score. So it kind of, in a traditional school, that would be the grade C. So everything that is below 70% is going to be considered a failing score. So 72 to 80 is going to be, it's a C, 80 to 90 is going to be a B, and then 90 to 100 is going to be an A. So yes, in that sense, it is, we can say, but it's a strict grading moment. However, having in mind that we allow the retries, that they can do it again, they can fix it. Honestly, it's not unmanageable. It's actually really, really easy. Like showing the effort, showing up for themselves in the end. You know, they're not doing anything of that for us, you know, to impress us. They're doing it for themselves. So just do the work, follow, you know, the lessons, follow the instructions that are given for every single gradable activity, and there is going to be no problem.
Great. We have no questions. I'm going to assume that everybody likes what you're talking about, so they're focused on listening, and that they don't ask questions. But if you do have some questions, feel free to ask. We are eager to answer them. In the meantime, do you have an insight, like how much it helps them when they know that their test or exam is coming up, that they are prepared? How often does it happen that you have to allow them to retry because they failed the test? Does it happen often?
Well, there is a little bit of a difference between, you know, like a quiz and an exam. The quiz itself, like it already has, you know, like multiple attempts. It's 3 times, like that literally means that they can do the same quiz 3 times. And this is why I say to my students, okay, look at the quiz as another opportunity to actually learn. You know, so relax. Even if you make a mistake, it's okay. Like you can just retake it, and you know it works beautifully. It is a bit different with the exams. You know, exams are we are a bit stricter, if I can say it like that, because like you can take the exam just once, and this is something that they should prepare for. I really do believe, and based on, you know, like the interaction and the conversation that I had with a couple of my students, knowing when the exam is going to happen, of course, you know, it helps, because, okay, when it's the next activity that you have to do, then clearly, you know, I should probably go through the lessons or my lesson notes again, you know, kind of go through the quizzes again, see, you know, like the typical questions, and typically that is enough, you know, that is enough to get them ready to take the exam. In extreme cases, of course, we can, extreme
I like
cases,
that, extreme case.
Yeah, we will agree to allow a retry on an exam, but this is something that really should be backed up by a really, really good reason.
My dog ate my homework or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a bad reason.
That's a bad, yes.
That's
Just to be clear. Yeah, but like I said, just be honest and open and tell us, you know, and then we can have an agreement, and if need be, we will allow a retry. Don't count on it. Get ready, you know, like you know it's coming. Typically, it's at the very end of the module. Even like you can open up the module and you can kind of see the list. Like I said, oh, it's a lesson, then a quiz, for example, then an assignment, then a lesson again, And typically, the exams clearly they should be at the very bottom of the module. So you already know, you know what to expect, and it's a pattern. Honestly, it's a pattern that kind of goes through every single module to every single course. No surprises there. So knowing what to expect and knowing that, I mean, at the end, it does depend on you. You know, it does depend on your pace, like you're doing the work, and then you reach the moment when the exam is, you know, like next thing on the line. And of course, okay, just revise a little bit. Like I said, take notes. I know it's not a popular opinion, but it's going to be very useful, and you are honestly good to go. Even with the exams, which are like regarded as the most, you know, like important thing, and we are in fact a bit strict when it comes to the exams.
Do they have like a time frame during which they have to finish the exam? For example, like 45 minutes or half an hour?
No,
free to,
no.
Okay.
They have all the time that they need, so there is no pressure when it comes to the time. There is no, you know, like clock ticking. Actually, now that you mentioned that, I literally remember the pressure.
I was just saying that. Right?
Like especially in
PTSD coming up.
university, like you have like a 2 hour and you're rushing to get like 5 essays written.
Yeah,
in that
especially like in the beginning, like you're, you know, like writing expression and everything, you know, like you have all those amazing ideas, and then, you know, like the
Your
teacher is
mental
like,
block.
You're
okay,
coming to
15
deadline.
minutes, you know, like let's wrap it up, and you are like, oh my God, right. So luckily enough, no such experience here. Take your time, think about every single question, and nobody's chasing you. It's gonna be okay.
I actually wanted to ask as well, have you seen a difference in like, you know, traditional school and like this online schooling where you don't have a timer on that end of semester exam, like with performances, like the scores? Because they don't have that pressure, they do a lot better.
Absolutely. Back in the day, even when I was at the university, and we kind of actually studied, well, I can say like that, like the science behind the grading. And what science is showing is that a lot of factors are affecting your performance. And you know, like your knowledge of the subject is at the very bottom. So that basically shows us that if somebody is like making a mistake, or if they're failing something and so on, it's not because they do not know, it's because, and then you have a list, like literally a list. Number one is pressure. Number one is pressure. So to answer the question, absolutely. If they know that, you know, like it's okay, you know, you have the time, nobody's watching you, no, there is no clock ticking. Can you just imagine, you know, like how light you must feel, and there is no burden on your shoulder?
Exactly.
Yes, and of course that's going to affect you psychologically and emotionally, and you're really just going to, okay, take a deep breath and let's go. Question.
Because the exam is based on your knowledge, not your ability to take a test.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, our students are not good test takers. They understand, like, I mean, they're going to be great test takers.
Yes.
But it's not based on that. It's based on their overall knowledge. And that's why we have those assignments. That's why we have quizzes. We have all this gradable content.
Yes, the gradable activities really do get you ready for the exams, because like I said, even like that is the beauty of this, because even the multiple choice questions, they are, you know, like based not so much to see, okay, did you memorize the facts? Did you memorize the information? It's more about, okay, did you understand? You know,
which is a huge difference.
Absolutely. Like this is what we want.
Yes.
We want them to learn. And like you said it beautifully, like they're not great test takers, they're great students, and they learned.
Because I remember as well, back in my day, just around your day, but it's like I would do like a cram study session and then do my exam, and at the end of the exam, it's like, what did I write? I don't remember anything.
I agree, absolutely. So like, and then you have to ask yourself, so what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, what is the point?
That was a great
We want good quality
test
education.
taker back in the day, but ask me now, I don't remember.
Yes, I agree.
True.
I agree.
Great. Okay, Irina, do you have any other advice? I mean, you shared so many good things here, and you gave them so many advice on how not to lose track and how to behave, you know, in general in an online school, and how to approach to this kind of learning system. But is there anything that we didn't ask you and you wish to share with us?
Well, with
the audience.
Final words.
Final words. Organize yourself well. Be aware that this is the opportunity that's given to you to take hold of your time, and it's a beautiful thing. So organize yourself well. Always ask and reach out. Like I said, there are no stupid questions, and we are here to help you out. Be friendly and open, although honestly they really are, you know, like even in the situation that's, you know, like one-on-one or in the group classes, they're really so friendly and open, and, you know, like they like to share, and we like to listen. So share, to tell us a little bit about yourselves, tell us about your life, tell us about your pets, about your brothers and sisters. We actually want to know, you know, we want to create that connection. And I think that when we are actually creating that connection, then they can really see, oh, but yes, I can ask, I can share.
They're not scared. They're like, okay, I'm going to ask Irina, not as a teacher but as a friend.
Yes, and
Sometimes
it
even
helps.
like that. I like that friendly moment that is going on between teachers and students. And every time when we spoke here at this podcast, teachers usually mention that relationship that they have with their students, like being one of the key moments in their educational journey. And there's something that actually motivates them, and they just simply feel free to ask.
Yeah.
They don't feel teachers as somebody who is like a strange person sitting on the screen, you know,
Absolutely.
across me and just talking. You know, it's really a friendly face. So
And
Yes,
then
exactly.
And then they don't feel like, not like an attack, but that it doesn't bring them down when you say, well, you shouldn't do it like that, but maybe try focusing on this. It's like
You're absolutely right, because they understand that you're their friend and that
And
you're
your kids
just
are.
offering, you know, like a piece of advice and a little bit of
Yeah.
guidance. There is no need to be defensive. They really take it and they think, okay, so I will then, you know, like work on that, and it works beautifully.
And now that you mention how often, and I believe the percentage is big when it comes to this, how often do they actually really listen to? Are they defensive in a way, and do they think like that they know better?
Rarely, honestly. Like, although this could be influenced by the fact, like, I'm mostly the elementary school teacher, so I work with I call them the young ones,
Young
my
ones.
babies. Like with them, honestly, I never experienced a problem. Like, it's not an over exaggeration. I honestly didn't. I can assume that maybe, like, if you're working with
schoolers,
high
maybe,
schoolers, that could sometimes be the case, but not often. I haven't heard anybody, you know, like really having an issue with this. Maybe like occasionally, but not as a rule, not as a general rule.
Great. And for the end, I would just like to ask Anita, because we also say that we can prolong the grade or extend the grade, but can you explain us from the consultant's point of view, what happens if we have to prolong students' school year for longer than 10 months, how that affects payments and any other conditions that they're under when they're enrolled?
Well, and this is why it's really important that the teachers are in contact and which they are. They're always tracking their progress, and they know, okay, they have like not a deadline, but like the 10-month period is this month. If they see maybe 2 or 3 months in advance, I can tell that by this progress, they probably won't finish everything by that time. They will reach out to the student, they'll reach out to the consultant, they'll say, okay, do you think we can do like an action plan, a study plan, and try and get them to that like benchmark? If they don't, then that's when we kind of, like Irina said, we would go through and see what can be skipped, what cannot. If they do need extra time, whether it's they took a break for a month even, or however long, then we can always extend it. We would just prolong it by a month. And we do that month to month, just because if it needs to be prolonged by a month, then our financial department sends out like a monthly invoice for that period. So even if they were, like, if they paid their tuition fee in advance, they would still be issued that monthly tuition fee, just because they have all of those extras. They have the classes, they have all of that just to finish in that time. And if, again, they don't finish by that time, we prolong it.
We can prolong it longer. So basically, from our side, we can prolong it almost indefinitely, although we do have to follow some rules.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
from
if
financial,
it's getting a bit out of hand, like we're prolonging it 6 months down the track.
That's really not normal.
we then do that, like either we switch into IS mode where we lessen the workload, or we skip through some things, which again is consulted with the teacher, because they know. They have, say for example, understanding of this module, we'll skip this certain assignment because we've gone through this in class and there's no need. We don't need to prolong it anymore. So they know their students best.
Yes, that's true. We know the students and as well the material, so we can kind of decide, you know, if we do end up skipping something, it's not going to greatly affect, you know, what comes next. So yes, this is what we do. But honestly, like I would always encourage the students, I mean, we will actually reach out first. If they do not want to reach out to us, we will actually reach out to them, because like Anita mentioned, we follow their progress constantly. So we are in the know, we are in the green, and we will reach out, we will send an email if we see something that's, you know, like even a little bit concerning. So now the ball is at their side of the court. Now they have to respond.
Reach out back and, you know, answer the question.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really great. And every now and then we face with problems, you know, because parents and students lose contact with the school. Nothing alarming, not huge cases, but eventually it turns out, oh, we didn't know that it has to be like that. So we thought that we just started school and that this is it. We can go, you know, like nobody really cares if we're doing something or not. So when we reach out and explain and we're like, okay, we see that you're struggling with something, they're usually surprised, like, oh my God, you care. So somebody really cares.
We do, yes, we really do.
That's great. Okay, girls, we have come to the end of this episode, and okay, thank you all for watching us. You had your chance to ask questions, you didn't. I'm sorry, but you missed it now. But you can do it if you're shy and you didn't want to do it here, you know, where everybody can see. You can always write to us at the admissions@eduww.net. You have all the contact details in the description of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Many of you are watching our podcast, but you're not subscribed. And you know, these YouTube algorithms have their own way. Like, you have to be subscribed. You know, you have like it really means to us. So take a look at some other podcasts that we did. We have covered many topics that you might find useful, and that's basically it. Irina and Anita, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary.
And thank you all for watching us. See you hopefully in May. Bye.